Good morning, children. Today we are going to do the story Quality from your book Echoes. In this narrative story, Quality, published in 1912, Galsworthy poses the issues of the hardships that true artists have to face in a shallow, money-mad world that attaches little importance to the ideals of quality and excellence. In today's world, quality is being undermined. These days, quality is replaced with quantity, or what you say, mass production. You make something in 20 days and no one will buy from you. On the other hand, the more you produce and the faster you produce, you will get more customers. Time obviously plays an important role. Perhaps in today's world, no one has the time to wait for a quality product. Hence, the faster the better. Quality is losing its importance in today's world. A quality product lasts longer. A watch bought by your great-grandfather still works and still can be used, while a stylish watch you buy today that works fine but is cheap, use and throw type. It may look better as compared to your great-grandfather's watch, but it will not last. You may say, "What do I care as I may buy another?" Hence, quality is losing its value to the time-starved, materialistic world. We will continue with the introduction. The Industrial Revolution revolutionized the ways the manufacturing industry worked. It brought into existence machines which increased the productivity and efficiency of the industries. It also reduced the prices of commodities greatly. Despite so many plus points, there were huge drawbacks of the industries getting mechanized. The 20th century workforce was hit hard by the increasing automation. Now that machines could do more than how much a man could, naturally, the machines started taking over the productions. The pocket-friendly cost of the machine-produced goods attracted the customers as well. The strongest and probably the harshest impact was felt by the traditional workers. This has been depicted well in the story Quality. The Gessler brothers were shoemakers by profession and came from a family of skilled shoemakers. They made shoes only on order and never worked with the aim of making money. This affected their earning as their shop received a bare minimum footfall throughout the year. With the coming of machines, many rival shops opened and each one of them claimed to make shoes for the royal family. They also invested greatly in advertising and got many customers. The Gesslers, however, were old school and did not believe in advertising. They believed that their work will do the necessary talking. To them, shoemaking was not just a business. It was their creative outlet and also a sacred art. That is why they made no such claims of making shoes for the royal family or any other. They continued to work on their shoes and The cheap industry made shoes kept reducing the number of customers they had. So, with that, we will begin the story and see how industrialization has demolished or taken over quality, and that is a sad story. So, we begin with the story. This is basically a narrative story. So, I knew him from the days of my extreme youth. So, the narrator is saying that I knew this person from my days of extreme youth, means when I was very small, because he made my father's boots. So, because I know him because he used to make my father's shoes or boots. Inhabiting with his elder brother, two little shops let into one, in a small by street, now no more, but then most fashionably placed in the West End. So he says the shop was two shops leading into one. It was in a small by street at the time, which no longer exists now, but at that moment this place was the most fashionable place in the West End. The tenement had a certain quite distinction. Now, what is a tenement? Tenement means the building or the complex in which this shop was located had a certain quite distinction. Means quite distinction means there was no publicity as such. The thing was very quiet, but still it was distinct and used to stand out. There was no sign upon its face that he made for any of the royal family. So, on the shop, there was no sign which advertised that they made shoes for the royal family, merely his own German name of Gessler Brothers. Means it only had the name written on the signboard which said Gessler Brothers, and in the windows a few pair of boots. I remember that it always troubled me to account for those unwearingly boots in the windows, for he made only what was order, reaching nothing down, and it seems so inconceivable that what he made could ever have failed. So what the author or the narrator is trying to say is that in that shop there was no advertisement as such, like they made shoes for the royal family or something like that. It simply had the name Gessler Brothers with a few boots kept on the window for display. So the narrator also says that he was little concerned because these people, the Gessler brothers, would make only boots or shoes on order. So how could they make a few to be kept as display for people to see? So if you look at this paragraph, what we come to know that these people, the Gessler brothers, made quality shoes and they did not require any advertisement so that people may come and buy shoes from them. They would on their own, based on the quality of their product, would come to their shop and buy the boots or order the boots. Now the word unwearing here means the boots would never change, not changing. They were the same boots that were kept in the window forever. So we continue. I remember that it always troubled me to account for those unwearing boots in the window, as I told you the meaning of unwearing. For he made only what was ordered. So he always used to make boots only what was ordered. So the narrator is a little surprised. How come these boots are kept in the window? Reaching nothing down, and it seemed so inconceivable that what he made could ever have failed to fit. And it was difficult to believe that whatever he made would not fit the customer, that some of which he would have kept in the window for display. Had he bought them to put there? So the narrator wonders if the Gessler brothers have bought these shoes to be put on the window. That too seems inconceivable, means that also seems to be unbelievable. He would never have tolerated in his house leather on which he had not worked himself. So this is referring to self-pride. The narrator says that the Gessler brothers would never tolerate a piece of leather in his house on which he has not worked himself. Besides, they were too beautiful. And besides that, the shoes that were on the window were too beautiful. The pair of pumps. Now, what is pumps? You may write down. Pumps means shoes with a low front. Shoes with a low front. Okay, so we continue. So inexpressibly slim, the patent leathers with cloth tops, making water come into one's mouth. So the shoe was so beautiful that anyone would love to wear it. Here comes into one's mouth, that is water, refers to someone who feels greedy, who feels that he should have this shoe. The tall brown riding boots with marvelously sooty glow. Sooty is actually, the meaning is smoky, blackish glow, as if though new they had been worn 100 years. So this boot seems to be, doesn't seems to be, it is new, but it looks very rugged, as if it has been worn for 100 years. Those pairs could only have been made by one who saw before him the sole of boot. Now, what is sole of boot? Sole of boot means it has been made by someone who knows the real art in his heart and has an affection towards making boots. So truly were they prototypes incarnating. Prototypes means first copy or copy. Incarnating means godly, in very spirit of all footgear. These thoughts, of course, came to me later. So these thoughts came to me later, because earlier he said his father's shoes were being made by the Gessler brothers. So these thoughts came to him later, though when I was promoted to him at the age of perhaps 14. So these thoughts came to my mind when I started visiting Gessler brothers when I was 14 for my shoes to be made. The author continues, some inkling haunted me. Inkling means slight knowledge or suspicion, scared me of the dignity of himself and brother. So the narrator is slightly scared of the amount of dignity or the dignity which this person and his brother might be getting from the society. For to make boots means they are just making boots. So what sort of dignity do they have? Such boots as he made seemed to me then and still seems to me mysterious and wonderful. So he tries to understand what sort of dignity these two brothers are getting from the society, because they are just simple bootmakers, while on the other hand, he says the quality and the way these shoes or boots are made is mysterious and is wonderful. Means the quality is excellent. I remember well my shy remark. Means one day he might have remarked to one of these brothers, one day while stretching out to him my youthful foot. So he said this on a day when he had gone there to get a shoe made for him. That is the reason he's saying out to him my youthful foot for measurements. Isn't it awfully hard to do, Mr. Gessler? So he says, isn't making of these boots a hard job to do, Mr. Gessler? And his answer, and his answer given with a sudden smile from out of the sardonic means mocking or making fun, redness of his beard, it is an art. It is an art. So he is talking with a German accent. So he wants to say that making shoes is an art. Himself, he was made as if made from leather. Perhaps his skin was shiny like leather. With his yellow, crinkly face, crinkly means wrinkled, and crinkly reddish hair and beard. So his hair and beard was also curvy or curly, you may say, and neat folds slanting down his cheeks to the corners of his mouth. So basically, a description of the face of Gessler brothers, one of the brothers actually. So he's saying his face was full of wrinkles, his face was shiny like leather, his reddish hair and beard also looked right like wrinkles, so probably curly, and neat folds slanting down his cheeks, again referring to the wrinkly nature of their face. And his guttural. Guttural means a sound produced from deep in the throat. Actually, it means one-toned and one-toned voice. For leather is a sardonic substance. Sardonic again means something which is mocking. And stiff and slow of purpose means leather is stiff and slow on purpose. So in this paragraph, the author is basically describing the looks of the Gessler brother. He says that his appearance is as if he is made of leather, that is shiny, and his face is full of wrinkles, and hair and beard is curly, and there are folds slanting down his cheek to the corner of his mouth. And in the beginning of this paragraph, he has mentioned he was a little fellow. That means this person must not be very tall. Okay. And that was the character of his face, save that his eyes, which were grey-blue, had in them the simple gravity of one secretly possessed by the ideal. So his face was not very appealing, but the eyes were. He says that save that his eyes, which were grey-blue, so his eyes were grey and blue, and had in them the simple gravity of one secretly possessed by the ideal. So his eyes had that simple gravity. Though he was just a cobbler or a shoemaker, his eyes showed gravity. Now, what does the author mean by this? One secretly possessed by the ideal. So ideal here means possessed by perfection of his art. This person was a perfectionist. He would not settle for anything else. He would give the best to his clients, that is, the best boots that is possible. His elder brother was so very like him, though watery, paler in every way. Paler means he looked pale. Obviously, elder brother, he is much older than the younger one, so he looked pale, with a great industry. Now, the author mentions the elder brother to be with a great industry. Now, here, industry means industrious, that is, a hard working person. That sometimes in early days I was not quite sure of him until the interview was over. Then I knew that it was he. If the words "I will ask my brother," that is, brother, had not been spoken, and that if they had, it was his elder brother. So when the person would come to meet the author and the person would say, "I will ask my elder brother," then he would understand this is the younger brother. Otherwise, it was quite difficult to distinguish between both the brothers. The story continues. When one grew old and wild and ran up bills, one somehow never ran them with Gessler brothers. Now, let us understand the meaning of this line. Now, run up is actually a phrase, so we are using it for debt. So, run up a debt or bill means to borrow so much of money that you owe a lot of money. This sentence means that one grows old, mature, married, and has children, and he has to run the house. So he tries to purchase things maybe on loan. And finally, he has to give back a lot of money. In the case of Gessler brothers, it was never like that. People always paid his bills on time. What could be the reason? It is possible that this person was a fan of Gessler brothers' boots and shoes and did not want his equation with Gessler brothers to spoil. Okay, so we continue. When one grew old and wild and ran up bills, one somehow never ran up them with Gessler brothers. It would not have seemed becoming to go in there and stretch out one's feet to that blue iron spectacled glance, owing him for more than, say, 2 pairs. Just the comfortable reassurance that one was still his client. The first part of this paragraph I have already explained. I'll come up with the second part. Now, what it means, it would never happen that a person gets into the shop of the Gessler brothers and gives him an order to prepare shoes. Gessler brothers will ask them to stretch their legs for measurement, and the glance or look with which Gessler brother observes the feet from the iron spectacle. Actually, it speaks of the passion and perfection in their work. Means this instance of sitting and giving measurement to the Gessler brothers would not be possible if a person is owing Gessler brothers money for, say, 2 pairs of shoes that they made in the past. Again, people always wanted to be the client of Gessler brothers. Means quality speaks, quality is appreciated, and there is a want for quality. Hence, no one will keep any money pending for Gessler brothers. Hence, if they do, they will not be able to get their shoes done by the Gessler brothers again. And Gessler brothers were the best in this art. So we continue with the story. For it was not possible to go to him very often. Why it was not possible for him to go very often? Because his boots lasted terribly. Means if you buy a pair of boots from the Gessler brothers, they will last you so long that you need not visit the shop again. Having something beyond the temporary means these boots were not the common boots. They were not the usual boots. They were not temporary boots that you wear and throw away after some time. They were something special. Some, as it were, essence of boot stitched into them. So as it says, these were boots which were made by people who had a passion in making boots. So the author says, the essence of boots stitched into them. One went in, not as into most shops. So when you go to the Gessler's shop, you don't go as if you are going into any other shop. In the mood of, please serve me and let me go. The person would certainly not go there with a thought that please serve me, please provide me what I want and let me go. Don't waste my time. But restfully, the person will go there with a lot of time. As one enters a church, as you enter a church, because here boots and shoes are made by people who have a passion for this art. So it is sort of a very sacred place. So a person who visits there is as if he enters a church and sitting on a single wooden chair waited, for there was never anybody there. So when the person would enter the shop, no one would be there. They would simply sit on the wooden chair and wait for one of the brothers to come out. Soon, over the top edge of the sort of well, rather dark and soothingly of leather. So soon, in this shop, which is smelling like leather, and this smell is being referred to as a soothing smell, which formed the shop, there would be seen his face. So soon this person will see the face of the Gessler brothers who would be coming down, or that of his elder brother. So either the younger brother, or it would be the elder brother who would be peering down, means looking down. A guttural sound. Guttural sound means one-toned voice. A guttural sound and the tip-tap of bast slippers. Now, what is a bast slipper? It is a slipper made of wood, a wooden slipper. Bast slipper beating the narrow wooden stairs. So this person would be coming down the stairs. First he will peep down to see who has come, and then would walk down the stairs to meet his customer. And he would stand before one without coat. So he will be standing there in front of you. He will not be wearing a coat. A little bent. So both of them are old, so they would be little bent, in leather apron. So they would be wearing leather apron. With sleeves turned back. So sleeves are turned up, so because probably they were working upstairs on some boot or shoes. Blinking, as if awakened from some dream of boots. So they would be standing in front of you, little bent, wearing a leather apron, and would be blinking as if they have been awakened from some dream of boots. That means here it is being referred to dream of boots, means the person had been deeply engrossed while he was making a boot upstairs. So he is as if come out from a dream. Or like an owl, surprised in daylight. Or they may look like an owl, surprised in daylight and annoyed at this interruption. So they may also look like an owl who was surprised in daylight and is annoyed of this interruption. Interruption from what? Interruption for making boots. That was the level of dedication towards their art by the Gessler brothers.